Why does having less money force you to pay more for everything? A rich person pays $50 for boots that last a decade, but if you are broke, you end up spending $100 twice as much on cheap pairs and you still have wet feet. It is the same math with toilet paper, bank fees, even rent. This hidden penalty is not just unfair, it is mathematically inescapable unless you know where the cost traps are set. So how deep does the poverty premium go, and what is the first step to beating it? Terry Pratchett's Sam Vimes once said, "A man who could afford $50 had a pair of boots that'd still be keeping his feet dry in 10 years' time, while a poor man who could only afford cheap boots would have spent $100 on boots in the same time and would still have wet feet." That's not just a clever line from a novel, it's a cost equation hiding in plain sight. Imagine Maya staring at two choices, a $50 pair of boots promising 10 dry winters, or the $10 boots that barely last a season. The math is simple but brutal. If Maya can only spare $10 at a time, she's forced to buy 5 pairs over 10 years, spending $100 in total. Meanwhile, someone who could front the $50 walks away dry and $50 richer after a decade. This is the boots theory in action. It's not just about footwear. It's a formula that repeats every time someone has to choose between what they can afford now and what makes sense in the long run. The penalty isn't just financial. Maya's feet are still wet and her wallet is emptier. Economists now call this the Vimes Boots Index, tracking how inflation and poverty premiums hit hardest when you can't buy in bulk or invest in durability. Every time the poor pay double for the same life, it's this equation at work: $50 upfront or $100 over time with worse results. This isn't about bad decisions, it's about the math that punishes people for being broke. Maya stands in the grocery aisle clutching her last $8 and eyeing the shelves. Toilet paper is the battleground today. A 30-roll pack at the Warehouse Club costs $15. That is just 50 cents a roll. Maya does not have $15, and she definitely does not have the space to store a mountain of toilet paper in her apartment, so she grabs a 4-pack from the corner store for $6. That is $1.50 per roll, 3 times the warehouse price, same brand, same paper. The only difference is the price of being broke. This is not just toilet paper, mayonnaise, diapers, laundry detergent, the math is everywhere. A big tub of mayonnaise at the supermarket might be $6 for 60 ounces or 10 cents an ounce. The tiny squeeze bottle at the corner shop is $2 for 8 ounces, 25 cents an ounce. Same with diapers. Buying a giant box at the club store drops the cost to 15 cents per diaper, but a small pack from the drugstore runs 40 cents each. National data shows low-income families spend up to 27% more per grocery unit than wealthier households. The penalty is baked into every receipt. If you cannot buy in bulk, you are locked out of the deals, paying retail premiums on basics that add up to hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars a year. Maya's cart is not just full of groceries, it is full of hidden markups that punish her for not having enough cash up front. The boots theory is not just about boots, it is stamped on every item in the cart every single week. Maya checks her bank app and sees a red alert, balance $20. She remembers an old streaming subscription, $25, auto billed overnight. Now her account is negative $5. The bank's response is a $35 overdraft fee instantly. That's not a late fee, that's a penalty for being $5 short, and it comes out to an effective interest rate of over 700% if you annualize it. Loan sharks get prosecuted for rates like that. Banks just call it policy. Most people with healthy balances never see these charges. For accounts under $1,000, this is routine. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that just 10% of customers, almost all with low balances, pay 80% of all overdraft fees. In 2022, banks and credit unions made over $12 billion this way. A single forgotten bill or a timing mismatch between paycheck and automatic payment can trigger a cascade. One small shortage, 3 or 4 fees in a day, more than $100 gone before you even know it. But the cost isn't just financial. A team of researchers led by Anandi Mani published a study in Science magazine. When people are forced to think about money stress, their measured IQ drops by 13 points. That's the same hit your brain takes after skipping an entire night of sleep. Maya feels it, foggy, anxious, unable to focus at work. The math isn't just extracting cash, it's stealing her bandwidth to plan, to problem solve, to get ahead. Every fee, every alert, every scramble for a few dollars makes the next good decision harder to see. The penalty for being broke hits twice, once in the wallet and again in the mind. Maya's car is her lifeline to work, but her credit score is a red flag to every traditional lender in town. So when her old sedan finally gives out, she ends up at a buy here, pay here lot, a place designed for people with no other options. The sticker on the window says $4,000, but that number is a mirage. With a handshake and a few signatures, the price jumps to $8,000, all financed at 24% annual percentage rate. Weekly payments, do rain or shine, keep her just ahead of the repo man. The numbers do not lie. Over the next 4 years, Maya will pay nearly $15,000 for a car that was worth $4,000 the day she drove it off the lot. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, this is not an outlier. Buy here, pay here contracts regularly double or triple the true cost of a vehicle for buyers with bad credit. Late fees stack up, and if Maya misses a payment, the dealer can disable her car with a remote kill switch. 1 in 4 buyers at these lots lose their car to repossession before the loan is paid off, but the debt lingers. Even after the car is gone, payments keep coming. Meanwhile, someone with savings or good credit can walk into a dealership, buy a reliable used Toyota for $20,000, and drive it for a decade with a 4% loan. The difference is not just in the car, it is in the math of being broke. For Maya, necessity and risk combine to turn every mile into a premium. The penalty for needing a car to keep your job but lacking capital is paying 3 times as much for half the reliability. This is the poverty premium on wheels. Rent is the ultimate penalty for lacking capital. Maya pays $2,000 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment, every dollar gone the moment it leaves her account. If she could buy, a comparable mortgage might run $1,200, but there is a $10,000 to $20,000 gate standing in her way. That is the down payment, while even with FHA programs, scraping together $10,000 feels impossible when half her income disappears into rent. HUD data shows nearly 40% of renters spend more than half their income just to keep a roof overhead. Every month, Maya proves she can afford homeownership. She just cannot cross the capital barrier. The time cost adds a second layer. Without her own washer and dryer, Maya heads to the laundromat. Each trip costs $5 in quarters, plus 2 hours waiting for cycles to finish. Monetized at minimum wage, that is $19.50 per load, $5 in cash, $14.50 in lost time. Over a year, that is $1,196 above what a homeowner with in-unit laundry pays. The same pattern repeats with groceries, banking, transportation. If you are broke, you do not just pay more in dollars, you pay in hours you cannot get back. Stack up the numbers. Housing, $9,600 more per year versus a mortgage. Laundry, $1,196. Groceries, banking, car repairs, financing, each with its own hidden surcharge. Add it all together and the poverty premium meter surges past $20,000 a year. That is not a rounding error. It is a structural surcharge for lacking capital, a hidden tax on existence paid by Maya and millions like her every single year. Today, more than half of Americans cannot cover an emergency of $1,000. That turns everyday setbacks into financial quicksand. As costs compound, the math punishes those with the least cushion. Until we address why scarcity costs extra, poverty remains a profit center, not a problem to solve. What is your experience with this hidden math?